So Curtis, I got your NewYorkPost.com article, Modern Moms Looking for Perfection in All the Wrong Places. Um, it was a good article. What do you think of it?
Well, I wanted to use it because it, I think, ties a lot of issues together that are particularly relevant to what life is like right now. So for people who haven't read it, it was written by a woman who says there's so much pressure on moms now because of social media that everybody will like post pictures of their life and how perfect it is, and they're like, oh, look at this, I did this for my kid and I spent all my time making my own cupcakes and everything's organic, and so that there's this kind of pressure there, and she was just talking about the dynamics of that. And it was written about moms, but I think it applies to social media competition in general, which is just like regular competition, but it's just been funneled through social media. The article makes the point that it used to be like, oh, you'd notice what kind of car somebody had in their garage. Like, oh, but now it's like you see pictures of their family on vacation. And social media competition is something I think everybody gets into. And I think that, I've been on both sides of it, meaning that there's been times when I'm posting things on whatever social platform where I'm trying to say, like, check out my life. Like, aren't I cool, And there's been times when I'm looking at what other people are posting. I'm like, are they cooler than me? And this is basically what the article's saying. So initially looking at that, I think, as a wise man once said, where there's smoke, there's a fire. The fact that, there's a sort of a disturbance on both ends. When I'm posting and trying to get people to look at me, it's like a ego positive disturbance, but it's still like, that's dysfunctional to try to be getting admiration from people, to try to be superior to people, and from that, like, sort of force their admiration, But on the other side, if I see something that someone else is doing and I feel jealousy or something, that's also an issue, because it's the flip side of me longing to be better than them, Because if I didn't care about being better than them, it wouldn't bother me that they seemed like they were better than me. But I want to look at parenting, because this one is about parenting. It talks about moms, but I think dads, any parents. And she's sort of talking about, how, and I don't actually look at Facebook that much, but you certainly see people are all like saying, oh, I didn't let my kids watch TV for this long, I didn't feed my kids any gluten, or people will do it with everything. And I think that what we have here is the new religion. And Swedenborg talks a lot about religion. And back in the day, we all are kind of just getting out of the old form of religion, which is like, oh, it used to be that, people were very serious about different organized religions, and they thought, like, you have to be a Christian, and if you're not the right kind of Christian, you're not in. Like, this used to be the old sort of thing, or you can't, if you didn't do your prayers as a Muslim, Christians can't, because and there was these religious forms, and that was kind of how you judged how in were you, in society, right? And Swedenborg, back in his day, was like a bit revolutionary for saying, hey man, there's a lot of different paths to heaven. And they're actually that the Muslim way can be just as good a path as the Christian way if you're living it in integrity, that there are different ways to it. Now we all just kind of take that for, like, duh, of course, external religious stuff doesn't matter, that seems archaic. But I don't think we're there yet with parenting, because I think that there is kind of this sense of like, oh, I've found something that I believe and I've done my research and everybody's got to have it my way. And if you don't do it my way, then you're wrong. So what I think is there's a lot of, just like in religion at times, there can be good things. Like the idea of putting healthy things into your kids' bodies, that's good. And making choices that impact the planet in a good way, or like trying to learn about psychology and, okay, what's good for kids, what's bad for kids. That's all good stuff. The problem is when it gets to this, like, it's my way or you're going to hell. That's the problem. So I would say it's this sort of new religious paradigm. And if we were to make a prayer up for it, it would be something like, isn't it great that there are kids and we are trying to make it so that these kids can have a good and happy life. And there are some kids who will grow up to be healthy, happy, and full of potential, both that eat gluten and that don't eat gluten. There are some kids that will grow up to be happy, healthy, and full of potential that eat sugar and that don't eat sugar, or whatever else it is. get vaccinations, don't get vaccinations, watch TV, don't watch TV, because we see this and we see it happening. You know, Swedenborg says in the oldest days of the church, he uses church as just like religious epoch, like the spirituality back in the day when it was a little less bogged down was people would share what they believed, but they wouldn't be offended if other people didn't take it, and they wouldn't be offended when other people shared, because there was this love that guided it all. And if we have that same love, I mean, the love behind it is, I know this is running long, but the love behind it is the love for the welfare of the children, wanting them to be happy, healthy, well-adjusted. That's what's driving that whole conversation. So if we can get together and share that, but yet love and compassion for each other and a little bit of humility, and thinking, okay, I'm trying my way, but other people may have their own ways, then I think you find some kind of resolution to that. And I think it would be the same for all social media competitiveness. Like, the goal is happy life and living together in love. So, you know what? You guys went to St. John, that's fine with me.